Hi, my name is Paulo Dishon, and I'm the creator of one of the most popular Android and Java developer courses on Udemy. So in this video, I'm going to give you a free preview of a lesson from my Android and Java developer course on udemy.com. In this lesson, I'll show you how to set up Android Studio and build your very first Android application. All right, so let's get to it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to download and install Android Studio. And I'm going to search download Android Studio like that. And then you're going to have a few links here, but the one that we're interested in is the one that has developer.android.com. One of these is saying you should have already downloaded Android Studio, and the reason why is because I've downloaded Android Studio already. But nevertheless, I'll just walk you through the process. Okay, so I'm going to go to download the Android Studio. And there we go. So as of recording of this video, the Android Studio version is 2.3.3. Okay, and I'm on Mac here. Very simply, we're just going to go ahead and say download. And of course, we have to accept a few terms and conditions here. And then we are now able to download Android Studio for Mac. And then it will start downloading. Once you do that, you should be able to see this page, while things are being downloaded in the background, and it has a little video that shows you how to set things up. Okay, so it's a very good resource for us. Again, it says here you should have already downloaded Android Studio, which is true, but I just want to show you here. Okay, so pretty soon we should be done with downloading. There we go. So I'm going to double click. We'll start extracting. Okay, so now we have this. I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop like that into the applications folder. Perfect. Now that's there. I can get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and open it in our application folder. And you can't quite see, but I see I have a few versions of Android Studio. I'm going to click on the one that I just downloaded, and it will give me this warning here. I'm going to say open anyway because I trust the source. Now, the reason why mine is showing this is because I've already downloaded Android Studio. That's why it goes back and finds any previous applications that I've worked on. It's just asking me to update our Gradle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say update. But for you, you probably won't see that. So I'm going to do it anyway here. That way I can show you exactly what in your case you'll be able to see. Again, you won't see this at all. You will see something different. All right, so once you've downloaded and went through that process, which you weren't able to see it here, it's a fairly simple process. You just have to follow the instructions and follow the wizard. It will get to the point where you will come to this. Yours may not look this dark. Okay, so how you do to get this darker color here in the configuration, you can go to configure, say preferences, appearance at the top here, and you see here says theme, says either Dracula or Darkula. You can click, you can go to default, which will make it all white, and I like this Darkula here. So in your case here, if you have a white theme, you can come down here and change to Darkula. Okay, and once you do that, you say okay and apply. Okay, don't need to do that because everything is working. But the other thing we need to do here is if you go to configure, go to check for updates, and in this case here telling me that my Android Studios has already been updated and installed and things. But if it for any reason it says that you need to update a few things, just go ahead and update those. Okay, so let's go ahead and start a new Android project. And here you can go ahead and put your name or anything else is there. That's not a problem. I'm gonna just go ahead and let me just say test here. Okay, and I'm gonna keep going. I'm just go ahead and get an empty activity just like that. I'm gonna finish. And within a few seconds, you should see something like this. Right now we have a project done. The first thing I want to show you here is this button here at the top, which says SDK Manager. So I want you to click on that. The SDK Manager has all of the libraries and tools that we need to run our Android apps. And as you can see here, the moment you go to SDK platforms, you have this API level and status. So you notice some of them are installed, others aren't. Okay. In this case here, I have the latest one installed up to 4.03, which is Ice Cream Sandwich. But I recommend you at least to install anything from 3.0, so this one here, up to, as well as Android O. So click that, okay, and anything else up to 3.0 and say install. I'm going to click all of these. Once you've done that, I'm going to say apply, say okay, and it will go ahead and install all of our SDKs as we requested. It take a few seconds. All right, so now that's done, you can go ahead and say finish. Okay, you notice now all of the items are installed. Let's go to our SDK tools here. Okay, this is also very important. As you can see, we have Android emulator. In my case, Android emulator 226.11 is installed. SDK platform 26 is installed. So everything that I have here that is installed, you should also make sure that you install. Now you notice also here that we have this Android SDK build tools 26 update available. In this case here, you would click on that, okay, like that. And before we go any further, I also want to make sure that you have Google Play services have to be installed. Okay, Google Play library also needs to be installed. So in my case, again here, most of them are already installed, but in your case, just go ahead and click on those. And if by any case in where it says support repository, if any of these are not installed in your case, please do install them. So just check them and go ahead and say apply and say okay. And it will install everything for you. Okay, finished. That's great. And you are done. Okay. Now, next thing I want to do here is to show you how to create an emulator. So the emulator allows us to emulate or to run our applications for testing. So I'm going to go to my AVD here, stands for Android Virtual Device Manager. So click on that. And again, in my case here, I've created a few already. In your case, you probably won't have any, which is fine. So what you need to do is to go ahead here and say create. You want a phone, and let's create a new one here. How about a Nexus 6? Okay, you pick whatever you want. I'm going to get a Nexus 6. I'm going to say next. I'm going to say next. And you can change the AVD name here, the emulator name if you wish. I just leave it the way it is. And I say finish. Okay, it takes a few seconds and you can see here now we have our item. Okay, so now you have your virtual device. In your case, in my case here I have 4, but you would have just one we created now. All right, so I think we're good. Let me refresh this real quick. Okay, that's all good. I'm getting out of there. And once you have done that, okay, go ahead and run here and you can find all of your emulators that you created here. In this case, we have our Nexus 6. Just go ahead and say okay, and it takes a few seconds here to wake our emulator up and run our app. You can see, there we go. We should see our app working in a second here. And there we go. Now you have Hello World. Okay, so you were able to run your first app on Android emulator device here. Perfect. Congratulations. Now, if you have any questions at all, it should be very straightforward. And as I can see, and as I say here, you have this little video that you can also play. But if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask. Okay? Perfect. Congratulations, and I'll see you in the next video. This application will be called Try Me. Okay? So go ahead and create a project, a Java Android, an Android project, and name it Try Me. Okay, and I already have here a demo. So this application will do the following. So we'll have a big button in the middle here that says Try Me, and when we click on it, we'll change the background color like this, and it's all random. Okay, that's the beauty of it. So we keep going, and sometimes we get the same color because it's all random. And there we go. This is the application that we are going to be building. So once the project is open, it's created. This is what we have here. And I went ahead and added a few items here, the background images. So if you go to Reveal in Finder, this is what we should have. Okay, so I went ahead and got these two put into the drawable. In fact, I don't think we're using this one here. I don't need this. And you will have access to all of this, obviously. Okay, so I have this surround background PNG image here, which is already there, right? First thing we need to do, of course, is to put a button around here. Let's go ahead and put a button right there in the middle. And we are going to give it an ID, try me button. Okay, that's perfect. All right, let's go back to our main ones here. So like, what else we need to do? Let's add our background here. Pick a resource here, and right away we'll see we have our round_B. So click on that and say perfect. That looks great. Okay, and the next thing we need to do, let's go ahead and change the text color of our button here. Okay, so let's search here, text color. There it is. Let's change it color to this background white there. That looks good. How about let's see if we can change the text size to make it a little bit bigger. So click here. In fact, you don't need to do that. Let's go ahead and change it ourselves. Here, let's give it actually 18 SB. Well, that's great. That looks wonderful. Perfect. Let's go ahead and run one more time just to see if things are actually looking the way we want them to look. There we go. And what do you know? It looks great. Okay, nothing is happening when we click the button here because simply we haven't done anything in the code. But at least we know that things are looking good. Perfect. So let's go back here. So the next thing we need to take care of is our background here. We need to figure out how do we access our background, because remember, we are going to change the background color each time they tap on this button here. And while we're here, let's change this button here to something different, the title to something different. Let's change it to, let's see here. Okay, it says text is button. Let's say we're going to click here in the pick a source, a resource. Click there, and we want to add resources, string resources file. That way it's easier to maintain. Okay, we're going to name this try me, and the value is going to be try me. So the value is what we are going to see once we use it. Okay, and you can see it's going to be under strings.xml. Say okay. Already has one. That's fine. That's because that's what I used before. There we go. Try me. Say okay. And if you want to make sure to see what I'm talking about, if you go to strings here, we should have here try me. Okay. Perfect. There we go. Try me. That's perfect. So how do we then figure out a way to access the background here? If we go to the text view, we can see that this would be the background. Section here represents the background, represents this white area that we see. Okay, and we said before, anything that we see is an object, and it can also be represented via XML text, as we see here. And we also said in order for us to be able to access resources of any type, including this view here, okay, because again, it's a resource type, as you can see here, we need to have an ID. You see this button here, we gave it an ID of try me button. Should be button, not button. Okay, there we go. 2 T's. There we go. That's much better. Okay, we have try me button here as the ID, which means now we will be able to reference this button when we are ready to create our logic here in our activity. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, the first thing we need to do is to give this an ID. So if you say ID, there it is. We're gonna choose the first one, add plus ID, and we're gonna give it ID of window view ID. This way, now we will be able to reference this view. So now that we have that done, let's go ahead and create our link. Let's go ahead and link everything up here. So the first thing we're going to say is private, and we are going to say view because now we want to be able to reference this view here, which incidentally is this background view in the back. It's a view, okay? And since we need to resolve this, that means we have to import this view package class here. You just say, Alt or Option, Enter, and there we go. You will see at the top here, we will see this view import that has just happened. Window view. And the next we're going to say private. And it's going to be a button, right? Because now we're going to try to get this button here reference. We're going to call this try me button. It's great. So now that we have our view window here, which is this background here, let's see what we can do with it. Because remember, everything is a view. Okay, so that means whatever we can do with buttons, obviously we can do with views as well. So that's the idea. Remember that hierarchy that I told you about. At the top we have view, and then at the bottom we have all those widgets which are buttons, text view, edit text, and so forth. So let's try something quick here so that way we can see the power here that we have. So now that we have this window view here created field, we can go ahead and say window is equal to find view by ID. We're going to say r.id dot window view ID. Now you notice right away here we don't have to cast like we do when we create button or any other widget. Right? We usually have here, we could have said here view. And that's still, it's okay, but it's very unnecessary. Well, because as you can see here, it says it's redundant because we are finding view by ID. And it happens to be, it's actually a view type that we are finding. So we don't need to put that there. Okay, so we can just go ahead and do this. That way we can get the window view ID reference to our window view here. Okay, once we have that, let's play around with something here. Let's say window view. Let's set the background color to something. You say dot set background color, and notice something here. This background color takes an integer as a color. Okay, there's other ways to add colors, but let's use this one. And now we can say color class, right? And say dot. We can change it to red. Let's save this and run. We should have a red background color showing. Look at that. Wonderful. That's amazing. That's really good. So you can see the power here that you have. And you can go ahead and say, for instance, window dot. Let's see what else can we do. We can even set a background from a drawable, which means we can set a background of using an image that we have under our drawables or under our resources images. So we could have put an image here and we could have referenced that way as well. All right. Okay. So that's the idea that I wanted to show you before we proceed here. And I hope you understand what's happening here. There's nothing really new. It's just that we were able to get the view, this one background here, because we know it's an object, and then we linked it to its window view ID. That way we have a handle, and then we can do whatever else we want to do with it, just like we do with buttons and text views and edit text and so forth. So we were able to get our window view here, and we're able to connect it to the corresponding ID, and then we were able to set a background color to red. Very good. So let's do the same with our button here. Before we forget, I'm going to say try me, which is try me button. Now remember, we have to cast it because it's not just a view. It's a type of a view. That's why we have to say find view by ID, but we have to put the button here. And here we can say r.id.tryMe button. There we go. Let's go ahead and move this right about here. Okay, first thing there, then the try me button. And how about getting this also here? That's not bad. Okay, now that we have our try me button, let's go ahead and attach an event listener to it. It's try me button. That's set on click listener, new on click listener. Okay, so that means here is where we are going to put our logic that will be called once we tap on the button. For now, let's go ahead and log into our console here. We haven't talked about this, but we're going to go ahead and log into our console here, whatever we are doing inside here. That way we can see what's going on. So there is a class called log class that allows us to see what our app is doing. Okay, these are things that will be shown here, so the user won't be able to see it, which is good because we are the developers. We need to be able to see, debug or see things or test things out in our applications when we are building them. Okay, we're gonna go ahead here and say for log, that's the class. As you can see, it's under android.util package. And we can use the first one here for debugging or the next one. Let's just keep with the first one. D stands for debugging, and we'll talk more about that. And then here we have to pass in a string. Let's just say test, something like that. And the next parameter is going to be something, let's put another, let's say tap. Okay, save this. Let's go ahead and run. Can see there it is. We should see something happening here. So tap, see, say test, tap. That's good. It's working. Perfect. Idea here is that when we have this try me button here, we want, as you click on it, we want to start changing the color in the background here. So we know how to change the color of our window, our background here, right? Now we have to make this dynamic. How do we do that? Okay, so the first thing we need to think about is, okay, so colors, as you see here, if we get rid of this, let's go back here. If you have an overset set background color, it takes in an integer. Okay, that means the colors that we put when we say color class dot red, that is actually an integer that is being stored in the background of our code. Okay, so this representation here is represented as an integer, which is very useful to us because now, one, we want to randomly generate a number that would correspond to a certain color. So this means the first thing we need to think about is, so we talk about integers and we talk about random numbers and we're talking about a group of the same types. And that should ring a bell that we probably are talking about an array here. So let's go ahead and create an array for colors. We're going to call this private int. All right, we're just going to say it's an int array. So we're going to say colors. You've seen this notation. So what we're saying here, we're saying this colors here is an array of type int. So it's going to hold integers. Perfect. So inside here, let's go ahead and create the actual array. So we're going to say colors is equal to new int. So what's happening here, this is a very interesting notation. So we are actually instantiating a new array, creating a new array of integers. And then as we create it, we are right away also inserting items into that array. That's what it means here. So we created the array because we know here, and then we go ahead and put items inside of that array. Now we said here that this color.red returns an integer, which is great. So that means here we can put all of our colors. We can say color dot cyan, okay, send color dot green, say color Okay, you get the idea. Like that. So now we have an array called colors, which has all of these colors as integers here. So now we have our colors array. Perfect. So this means if we want to access, for instance, color red, where is color red? It's here, right? That means it's on 0, 1, 2 index. So now we can just go ahead and call the colors array. And then since we know it's array, we pass in 0, 1, 2. So the second index. So now we have a way to access that. Okay. So if we save this and run once again, we should see the same color. Okay, nothing has changed except we know now we are referencing the color red from our colors array here. We want to make sure that all of this happens inside here when users tap on the button. Okay, we need to figure out a way to create random numbers. So there is a class called random class that we can use already. Again, it's all pre-built. We don't have to do that ourselves. Okay, we're going to use that class that will help us to randomly choose colors here as we tap. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to say random. That's the class. We're going to call this random. It's going to be equal to new random. Okay, so instantiating it. And then what do we need to do? We are going to create, and now we're going to go ahead and create the actual random number at a given time. So we're going to say int because it's all going to be an integer. Okay, that's what we want. We're going to call this random num. Okay, this is one number each time you tap. Okay, we're going to use our random object here to start creating our random number. So random dot next int. That's the method we need to use. Now, inside of this next int, we need to pass in a number here, integer, which needs to be the length of our colors array here. Because we need, if you think about it, we need a way to know, okay, if we are creating random numbers, what is the range? Is it between 0 and 100 or 0 and 200 or 0 and 3, right? In this case, we want to make sure that each time that we tap on the button, we get a number that is between the length of this array here, because it would not make any sense if the length of this array is 6 and then we get a number that is beyond the length of this array. Then we'll get an error, and that's bad because it's going to say, well, this array here length is 4 and I'm getting you a random number 7, which is not part of this array here. Could have gone ahead and count, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we know the length is 9 and put it here. But we're smart enough to not do that because this array could change. We could add more numbers here and that wouldn't work. We can just create a variable here that will give us the length of this array. Say int color array length. How do you get the array length? Well, you say colors because that's the name of the array, dot length. There we go. So now we can use this, copy and put it here. So now as we create this random number, so next int, which means it's going to go and find randomly an integer between 0 and the length of this array. It will never go beyond the length of this array, which is exactly what we want. So now that we have this, we can comment this out. Remember here, this window view. So let's get that out of there and let's put it here. So now check this out. Instead of putting a 2 here, we can just use, because we know that this is an integer. So each time you tap, it's going to go ahead and create a new random number, right? Which is confined between the color array length, which is what we need. Okay, so we copy this and put inside here. So now our colors, so we're passing here our colors array. So we're saying colors array is going to be, let's say if random number the first time is 1, it's going to be colors array 1, index 1, so it's going to be 0, 1, it's going to be green. If next time is 0, it's going to be colors 0, it's going to be cyan. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Let's save this and run once again. And button we should have. Okay, it's white, that's fine. Let's click. Oh, look at that. Click again, look at that. Oh, wow. And yes, there will be times when the colors will not change. That's just because our random generator, it's not perfect. So it generates the same number, okay? And that's fine. But you can see. Now, let me prove you that we are actually getting different numbers here. Let's go ahead and say the following. Here, let's say random. And for the value we want to see, let's say here random number. So we're going to see what number is being generated. This is random ND. So we get an error here because these are not compatible. We're passing here an integer, which is fine for what we're trying to do, but in order for us to see a log, we need to make it a string. So we're going to go ahead and use the string class again, dot value of, that's one that we haven't used. So here, what are we doing here? We are invoking a string class, and we say we want the value of whatever we're passing in here. So if the value of integer we pass in is 1, then we're going to make it a string, which it's going to then be able to show here. So now if we save, we will be able to see the numbers being generated as we tap our button. Okay, let's go ahead and run once again. All right, so let's open this monitor here. So just keep your eyes around here, okay? So you tap, random is 2. If you look here, so if they say random is 2, should be red. Let's see, 2 is red. That means 2 would be the index 2. So this is index 0, cyan, 1, 2 is red. Perfect, so this works. Let's see what next here. So it's 3 and it's blue. Is it true? Be detective here. Where is blue? Blue is here. So that means 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes, you see? Okay, you keep going. Now you have these great tools that you can use to start creating really fun little applications that are fun. I mean, it's really awesome to be able, if you've never done this, and to be able to create something simple, but something that you should be proud of. You're able to create an app that does something fun. You're creating random numbers, and as those random numbers are created, you're changing the background color. I encourage you to go and add more colors here, okay, as many colors as you can, and play around, okay, and see how fun this is. All right. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this short, free preview lesson valuable and inspiring. Now, if you would like to have a full access to this course, which includes over 50 hours of free premium content where I teach you Java and Android development by actually building over 20 apps, then take advantage of this huge discount to enroll in the course by clicking the link below or use the following coupon code. Go ahead and join over 20,000 happy and satisfied students and start building Android apps today. And I'll see you inside.